I wander around in my storeroom that I have for sort of quite a long time, and just round the corner around there, which is a little bit dark, there's about 1,000 morning coats. Along here, this is all tweed. There's some tweed suits here, literally hundreds of tweed jackets. Now, this place is now open to the public on weekends. All these lovely old Harris Tweed shepherd check jackets, real classic stuff. Yeah, fantastic. So we're never going to see this quality ever again, because new Harris Tweed, bless them, they're lovely people up there, is quite lightweight and aimed to the fashion business. But there's so many little gems here. What's this? Made from Boss, right? Double-breasted tweed jacket. Cecil G. Cecil G and Boss. Cecil G was this odd sort of company. Their stuff wasn't like anybody else's. They made some of the first Beatle jackets in the 60s. Yeah, so honestly, now I have to make a lot of space here, because this area here, which actually used to be a dance floor, I need for my cutting table, because we're going to do some manufacturing here. I'm going to get into flat cap production again in Yorkshire. That'll be in the new year, so watch this space. So one of these big sort of rails here is going to have to go. I need to clear 1,000 square feet for manufacturing. So because of that, I'm going to have a big sale on tweed jackets. There's going to be some very, very low prices on some really beautiful jackets here. I'm generally here on Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes through the week too, but just contact me on via Instagram or Facebook, and I can give you directions to get here. Right, I'm looking for some ties for somebody. I've got some Christmas ties, and I've had them for quite a long time, and we're getting near that time. People are going to want them. I've got, I think, around 10,000 English woven silk ties here. And by the way, anybody that visits the storeroom before Christmas gets a free English woven silk tie. That's my little Christmas gift. There's some really, really beautiful stuff, practically every colour. And there's lots of themed stuff, like, these are Liberty print ties. There's about 10 different patterns. They're really beautiful. Lots of really fantastic paisleys, lots of polka dots, golf themed ties. There's lots of themed ties with themes like gardening. There's seem to have a lot of ties with elephants on them. Yeah, here's my Christmas tie. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Oh, and another one here. That's good. Now, we wish you a Merry Christmas. How could you possibly get through Christmas without a Christmas tie? Everybody should have one. And in fact, come and buy half a dozen and kit the whole family out. Right, now a little bit further around, you can see how many ties we've got. See, you get ties with themes. There's an awful lot of ties here that have a sailing theme, or like anchors or seashells. These are all English woven silk ties. This one's got a gardening theme. Lots of plain ties, which I buy these to coordinate with the waistcoats. More lovely paisleys here. What's this? Oh, right. Now I've got this saxophone one. I think I've just got 3 or 4 of these left. I've got it in another colour, got it in red as well. Seagulls, a hippo. Oh well, yeah. I'm sure everybody knows somebody that has a connection to hippos that's going to want that tie. There's more around here. There's more up here as well. I'll get my ladder to look at that stuff. And a bit of Highland kit as well in the storeroom. Some tootle scarves. These lovely old academic gowns. Now, I think something happened about 20 years ago. Something to do with European regulations, that anything that was hired had to be steamed at a certain temperature or something like this. And these beautiful old wool and cotton ones weren't going to stand up to that kind of treatment. So all these little details, like this little sort of micro pleats and rostering in here and super materials, now you just get, for your graduation, you just get a polyester thing and all this lovely detail, these covered buttons. It's all gone now. Eden Ravenscroft, founded, was that 1604 or something? Oh, yeah. Robe makers. They make academic and ecclesiastical kit. Yeah. Yeah. Church, state, academic, law. What's that? Oh, municipal robes. Yeah. So they make court dress too. Right. What else have we got here? Something for the ladies. I have a lot of small size. Of course, it's quite well known that most of my girl customers are Chinese girl customers, and they're rather fond of Burberry. So lots of Burberry stuff here. Lots of Burberry trench coats. A lot of little small size Burberry and Jaeger boutique skirts here. Yeah, mainly small sizes, mainly 8, 10, 12. More stuff around here. If you want a warm coat, and a little more Burberry skirts just here, and lots and lots of super dresses from Jaeger, one of the best makers in this country. Lots of trench coats here. Now we're getting on to. It is the season for dinner, dances, and general parties where you need to wear formal kit. I think there's must be easily 1,000 dinner jackets here. Mostly, I bet 90% of these are in vintage super quality Barathea from really good makers. And to be honest, if you bought one from Henry Poole in Savile and bought an identical one from Burton, the appearance would be similar. Burton dinner jackets from the 50s and 60s were really super quality. More ties here, lots and lots of patterns. More sailing stuff. Anchors. Anchors seems to be quite a theme on ties. Yeah, more sailing stuff. Oh, any alcoholics? We've got a wine theme here. Got that one in a few different colours. More anchor, lots of anchors. Yeah, so don't forget, more sailing stuff. Anybody that visits the storeroom gets a free English woven silk tie. Now, it's winter. You're going to need a coat. Hoover gave its name to vacuum cleaners. Crombie gave its name to this style of coat. This is almost certainly a Crombie cloth. Normally has the Crombie label inside. One of them will. Yeah, you can tell this is, yeah, it's the Crombie cloth really shouts at you. Yeah, see here, there's a Crombie label. And I must have at least 150 of these Crombie coats in here. Really low prices. I need to clear maybe this whole area here for some sewing machines and a big cutting table, because I'll be doing a lot of my sampling in this place. I have to heat it up a little bit. What have we got around here? An electric piano. Now, there is nothing warmer than a sheepskin coat. There's a book about the chap, I think I might have mentioned this before, who should have inherited the Moreland company, who were pretty much market leaders in sheepskin coats, but he decided to be a drug dealer instead. There's, I suppose, companies like Puffer Jackets and North Face and all these sort of people that make plastic clothes. They've taken over the spot where people would normally have a sheepskin coat, but they're delicious to wear. This one here is mine, and when it is cold, these are absolutely super. Yeah, this is a double-breasted one. Oh, I had two fantastic sheepskin coats, and I lent them to Gucci, their well-known fashion brand, for a photo shoot, and I didn't get them back, and I'm really, really cross about that. So, yeah, this is just, you'll be absolutely fearless. If you go to the South Pole in this, really sort of stylish. Yeah, fabulous thing. Absolutely nothing warmer and friendlier than a sheepskin. Yeah, these are beautiful. Love that. And what else have we got? Oh, now there's just one thing, a little project that I've got for this year, and that's, let's just find a fabric. Now, in my Sheffield shop, I did have a waistcoat on display. Unfortunately, it's the last one that I made before I closed my factory, but obviously I still have the patterns, and I said I would make some more. This particular waistcoat, I copied this from a Victorian one. The original Victorian one had about 20 buttons down there. I knocked it down, so I think there's only about 10 left on this one. It's enough to be going on with. The collar goes all the way around, and it's a super waistcoat. I copied it from a side saddle habit, but a Victorian one. So this pattern is 120 years old. The original pattern was actually boned like a corset, and it was made in a sort of doeskin. But I'm going to fulfill my promise. I'm going to make some more of these. I've got enough to make maybe half a dozen in this stuff, which you may recognise as the well-known Burberry Novacek. Now, these may go to China, I don't know. This is a liner from a Burberry raincoat, which buttons in. It's like a winter liner. So I think out of this little piece here, I can probably get 2 of these waistcoats. Now, I won't be saying there was genuine Burberry waistcoats, but you're going to get a Burberry label, and a traditional Burberry with Burberry's, not Burberry, the real old company. So, yeah, this is going to be made in this Burberry fabric, as well as some really super tweeds, the same as this. So, if anybody remembers me promising I'd make some of these, get in touch, get your name down, and you'll be first on the list. I've got enough of this stuff to make, I don't know, maybe 10 or so. Might get hold of some more of this, I don't know. I've got it in aquascutum check as well. Dressing gowns. I love a dressing gown. I mean, if you like doing a bit of Noel Coward, get a cigarette holder and go out in the midnight sun or something, like Mad Dog and Englishman. I made this one from very lightweight English shirt printed silk. It was actually some Turnbull and Asser shirt fabric that I got hold of from Vanners or Stephen Walters in Sudbury, and I thought I'd make some little elegant dressing gowns. So let's just put the belt back in the pocket. But my inspiration, what got me interested in making dressing gowns, was I happened to have a dressing gown made by Turnbull and Asser. It was made for the ballet dancer Nureyev, and I confirmed its authenticity by one of my friends was chap actually shared a flat with him in Paris. Now this is not the one I'm talking about. The Nureyev one is in purple velvet with slightly raised shoulder like that, and he was about my size, so I can wear this thing. Now this is a Turnbull and Asser grove grain silk dressing gown. It's a little bit creased up. They're just taking it out of a box, but what fabulous things used to be made on Jermyn Street. They just don't do this sort of stuff anymore. Yeah, this is absolutely beautiful, elegant stuff. But the Holy Grail, if you want the very best dressing gowns, were made by Jaeger and this company. Sadly, I think maybe Louis Vuitton or somebody owns this this name now, Solka Silk. Now this name sort of haunted me because when I was in menswear in the 1960s, I used to save my money to buy Solka ties. And there's an iconic building in Chicago, which on the side it says Solka Silk Company, London, Paris and Chicago. I thought that sounded so cool to have a shop in London and Paris and Chicago. It would be a little bit dangerous to have a shop in Chicago now without an armed sentry, sadly. But yeah, so a Solka dressing gown is, yeah, like the holy grail of dressing gowns if you're talking about acquiring a vintage one. This was entirely in silk. What a beautiful bit of kit is that. Slightly short on the sleeve, but, well, we'll show your shirt cuffs, I suppose. Beautiful thing. Morning everybody. I've got some good news. Waistcoats are back in production, and quite excited about this because I closed my factory luckily before COVID. I say luckily because there were no weddings for a few years with the COVID nonsense, and unfortunately my workforce was about to retire, and there's absolutely no chance these days of being able to start a new factory in the UK. It's just virtually impossible now to start on a low budget with a factory the way that I was able to do before. So I'm now making in China, which is sadly the only place where I can get the enthusiasm and the skills to produce a really super product that I've always produced. Now this one is about as traditional as you can get. This one's actually an old Irish linen, and it's now these are fairly high cut. You should only ever wear one of these with proper fishtail back trousers with braces buttons on the outside, because if these get too long, they sort of look like a cardigan, and this has got to be pretty high, no lower than your navel. If you take a real vintage one, it would. I mean, I've actually lengthened and made some compromise. I made this one a couple of inches longer than the vintage one that I took the pattern off. But yeah, now this one is an old Irish linen. On the back, could do a little press on that. This is English woven silk. My factory in Ipswich was right next to Sudbury, where they make the best silk in the world, although Italians might give you an argument about that. So I was able to buy silk really cheaply and use it just randomly on the back of waistcoats, which makes them nice and cool. So that's one pattern. Now I'm just going to grab another pattern. This is your standard double-breasted peak lapel. Again, only really for use with high-rise trousers, a proper traditional Edwardian cut for Edwardian morning dress. Now another one coming up. Just put this one over here. Very, very quickly. I don't know if this will balance on here. This is one of, this is the best waistcoat I've ever made. This is English brocade woven silk. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, peak lapel, double-breasted. Just after the film Four Weddings and a Funeral, there was a great fashion for sort of pop waistcoats, like the sort of Eton pop waistcoats with sort of garish patterns. That sort of enabled a lot of people selling quite cheap garish ones, and it sort of cheapened that sort of look a little bit. So it went out of style, and people went into pastel colours and traditional greys and beige. But if you're talking about a good quality material, then this sort of thing, particularly in black and silver, traditional Ascot colours, looks absolutely great. But yeah, so this, again, double-breasted shawl, peak lapel. Now, another one coming up. A word I absolutely can't stand, and I hate it if it's ever applied to me. Sometimes people say, oh, are you a designer? I really can't stand that word. There are no designers. Nothing gets designed. Everything's already been designed. Everything that's worth wearing already exists. Changing the colour, putting another sleeve here, it doesn't mean you're a designer. I like the term tailor is nice, and I like the term manufacturer. Always considered myself a manufacturer. Now this pattern I copied. Like I said, everything is copied. Everything already exists now. There was a fantastic tailor in Dublin called tailors. They were, I think, brothers called Hawkins in Cavendish Row in Dublin. They retired. They were both over 80 when they retired. Their tailoring was exquisite. It was as good as anything on Savile Row. And I got hold of a vintage suit, which was my size, from the sort of teddy boy era, with a few nods towards teddy boy style. Like it had covered buttons and it had a waistcoat. And the waistcoat was this style, double-breasted with a narrow shawl collar, correctly not curved like the evening one, which some people are producing and wearing at Ascot incorrectly. Now this is actually a very light cashmere, and I had this. I mean, blue waistcoats. I've got 10 different colours blue, from sort of navy blue down to really, really pale sort of blue. This is, I suppose, this is sort of duck egg blue, I suppose. Real mother of pearl buttons. But yeah, in honour of this company, Hawkins, I always refer to this as the Hawkins pattern. And I make this in just about every colour. And I like to play around with new materials. But this year, most of the new stock that I'm making is going to be in mohair. I've had some mohair specially woven in really beautiful pastel colours. There's some fantastic colours. So virtually every colour imaginable will be available in this pattern. Now, just one more to show you. Now, there's nothing terribly exciting about this. It's just a very conventional single-breasted waistcoat. This one has lapels. I'm not always keen on lapels on a single-breasted waistcoat on tweeds because it bulks the thing out just a little bit too much, and sometimes less is more. But on a waistcoat for ascot, this is actually a gabardine. This is quite sort of smooth, lighter weight materials. It's fine. But the great thing about single-breasted waistcoat is if you want to wear conventional trousers with side adjusters, which are slightly lower, the single-breasted waistcoat is longer, and it's also a very easy fit. There is a problem sometimes with double-breasted waistcoats, particularly the peak lapel one. You get a little bowing here, and the only correction for it is on the shoulder, which is a little bit difficult to mess around with once the thing's been made. But single-breasted, you just put them on anybody's back and they work instantly. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of how not to wear a double-breasted waistcoat. Quite famous chap. When you wear a double-breasted waistcoat, or anything for ascot, you absolutely must have braces on your trousers. Morning stripes should be vertical and straight down. If you don't have braces pulling the front up, see, I'm wearing corduroy trousers at the moment. Now, and I've got braces on the outside. Now, if I didn't have braces and I had a bit of girth here, the trousers would tip down like that, and you'd get all sorts of funny shapes on the stripes. That happens when you look at wedding groups. You can tell the chaps in the group don't have braces on their trousers because the lines are all over the place. So braces keep the front of the trousers up and keep the lines vertical. Also, it keeps the trousers under your waistcoat. I'm going to show you a picture of somebody not wearing braces, but you'll come across that a little bit later. So yeah, single-breasted, really easy fit for anybody. Right, morning coat trousers. As I mentioned, if you're going to wear a peak lapel double-breasted waistcoat, it has to be high cut. So you must wear traditional Edwardian style trousers, which normally have quite tapered line on the leg with the cavalry cut at the bottom, and must be wrong pair. This pair must be fishtail back like this. So the back will have braces buttons on the outside, little V just there, and these come sort of quite high, and that keeps the trousers well under the waistcoat and gives you a very, very elegant line down in front. So yeah, these are fishtail back trousers. Now, if you don't want to wear fishtail back trousers for any reason, I can't imagine anybody not wanting to, because you look great in them, there is always the alternative of what we call side adjuster regular trousers. Now, the ones that I make are reasonably high rise because they must be under your waistcoat, and of course we'll always have braces buttons on the inside too. Now, both these pairs of trousers are made from a cloth called bard, which is produced exclusively by the best mill in the world, well, in Scotland. They're famous for their fantastic tweeds at Lovat Mill in Hoyk in Scotland. The best tweeds in the world. But they also make this cloth. I've made a lot of suits from this. It's a bit like a sort of hopsack type Barathea weave, and it's really beautiful stuff, and it's quite cool, but it still drapes really nicely for the tails on a morning coat or just for the back end of a suit. So yeah, so you have side adjusted trousers which come over your hips, or fishtail back trousers if you are going for the higher cut waistcoat. Now, this bard material, this cloth, I have one roll left which I had dyed specially in black. It's not in their pattern book. They normally just do charcoal grey and a sort of clerical grey. But I have, I think, 40 odd meters left. So before Royal Ascot comes along, I will be able to make some black morning coats in 100% wool barred material. Just contact me if you need a morning coat, because I'm making them now in Shenzhen, in my new facility over there in China. I'm backwards and forwards there, and I carry stuff backwards and forwards with me, because I like to check every individual garment before it leaves. But I'm getting super quality there. I'm getting the enthusiasm, and I'm getting really high skills. People really enjoy their work. Now, I've spoken before in extremely complimentary terms about the company Moss Bros and their old products, pre-1975, say. Whoever was in charge then was in a competitive market, and they were determined to be the best, and they were the best, and they produced absolutely super quality stuff. Great manufacturing quality, and materials that couldn't be bettered. This is an old 1960s hopsack weave morning coat. It's beautiful. Sadly, it's got a little bit of moth damage, so I might make this one into caps or something. All this really beautiful quilting on the inside, which was traditional in the morning coat, because morning coats were coats. They were worn as a coat when it was common everyday dress. So yeah, this is a really beautiful product. Super materials, well put together. It still has the pleat on the back of the tails. I've spoken about this before. When we see a beautiful girl wearing a pleated skirt or a micro-pleat skirt, it drapes, it flows beautifully. That's what the pleats do. A morning coat tails is supposed to have a pleat on the back, which helps the drape, especially in a lighter weight fabric. Yeah, all these corners have got cut, and they got cheaper and cheaper. I'm going to show you something that, in my view, is pretty abysmal. I can almost use the term disgusting. This is a modern Moss Bros evening tails, similar to a morning coat, of course. The fabric is about as cheap as you can get, quite honestly. Pretty cheap plastic buttons. I noticed the real horn buttons on that old coat. This is absolutely awful. A really cheap viscose lining on here. Even the Moss Bros label is sort of a bit down market. The tails, again, evening tails, missing a really important thing, missing the pleat just there, just a seam there. This is a rubbish product. But unfortunately, on the ready-to-wear market, Moss Bros seem to sort of dominate, and this is what they're turning out. I don't know why it happened. I don't know who was in charge that said, oh, let's make them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. It's hard for me to understand, because as a manufacturer, I know that you don't save very much money by putting a cheaper fabric in. The high cost of manufacturing is in the labour. I would say that maybe only 20% is materials and 80% is labour. So you don't save very much by downgrading the materials that you use. So I really just don't understand why everything has got so cheap and nasty now. I've always aimed at vintage quality. This is a really nice old Harris tweed jacket that I'm making, and it's 70 years old. Still going strong, still looks great. These trousers were made in my factory. They're 560 gram Bismarck Moss corduroy. I probably made them 15 years ago. They're still going strong. Just use good materials and stuff will last forever, but that's not the way of the fashion business, unfortunately. I don't know what I can say about Tommy Nutter. Whatever you say about Tommy Nutter, it just wouldn't be enough. He was just the most exciting thing to happen on Savile, and as one of the very stuffy old conservative tailors said when Tommy passed, he said, yes, he's sadly missed on Savile. His tailoring, the quality was exquisite. There's just nothing better. I own one Tommy Nutter jacket that was made for a very famous person, and it's in the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art as a work of art, and I own that. It's actually a complete suit. But this is one of the many different styles he did in smoking jackets and in jackets. It's in mohair, super cool. Very typical 70s kind of style where they went a little bit longer with pocket flaps and things, which is a bit of a departure on a dinner jacket. And I think obviously I have a deep vent at the back. This is just a little bit tight on this mannequin, but that vent is, it's going to be 15 inches deep. Really beautiful, elegant cut on this. I'm not sure who it's made for. Somebody rich and famous, I think. A lovely moire silk grosgrain lapel with done on inset, with lovely super velvet cotton there. This isn't. Oh, and the grosgrain goes all the way to the inside too. Yeah, I mean, tailoring just doesn't get better than this. And here's the man himself, Tommy Nutter. I mean, the word legend gets thrown around casually these days, but he actually is legendary. If only there was somebody like Tommy Nutter around now. When people talk about creators and designers and this sort of stuff, this guy really did create some beautiful garments. Yeah, hats off to Tommy Nutter. Now, when I had a shop in the arcade in Jermyn Street, I was opposite a chap by the name of Conway, and it must be 15 years older than me, and I'm sure he's passed by now, because he was certainly over 80 when I knew him. And he would just sit reading his newspaper in a very small unit in Princess Arcade, and selling basically nothing else but braces and a few odd shirts and that sort of thing. But, you know, he's my neighbour, we get into conversation. And in every conversation, his answer was always, well, do you know, I started this, and he claimed to have started absolutely everything on Savile, white collars on shirts, and yeah, everything he started. But going through vintage stuff that I have here, you might not be aware of this name, but got to be sort of my age really. I see a lot of stuff that was made by him or his company, and it is quite innovative, different stuff. So yeah, maybe he was a little bit right. This is a needle cord jacket with Norfolk type straps just here, nice little pocket details with a little vent on the pocket, and this is the guy, Conway of Jermyn Street. You will find I have vintage shirts with Conway brand with like round collars and round collars with buttons, which he claimed to be the first one. And I think there might be some truth in it. He might have been one of the most innovative guys around when Carnaby Street and Jermyn Street sort of met head on, and there was a bit of both trying to get that sort of same super fashionable market. This is actually a suit, and it's in my storeroom. I think it's about a size 40, so it's going to be for sale. It's in really super condition, probably made in the late 60s. So yeah, just a very interesting bit of kit. Yeah, very stylish now.